The presidential election of 2020 is probably the most controversial presidential elections in American history, and that's including the Gore versus Bush fiasco and the presidential election of 1824. But on January 20th, 2021, Joseph R. Biden Jr. will take the oath of office to become the 46th President of the United States. So this video will talk about 10 presidential inauguration fun facts that you may or may not know about. So welcome to my YouTube channel, Between the Parties, where I dedicate this space to discuss American government structure, some politics, and American history. This is not a political commentary channel, as I will try my hardest to keep the topics on here as impartial as possible. So with that, I am Giovanny Haros, and please take a second to subscribe to Between the Parties YouTube channel today, and make sure you hit the bell button so that you'll be notified of future content. You can also follow my Between the Parties Instagram page for even more content. So with that out of the way, let's get started with fun facts on presidential inaugurations. All right, so the following information comes from the National Constitution Center, Mental Floss, the New York Times, and many of my past textbooks as a political science student. The list is not on any particular order, except I did save the number 1 spot for my personal favorite. Let's begin. Number 10, William Henry Harrison probably wasn't killed by his inauguration. One of the biggest stories in inauguration history was that President Harrison died in 1841 because he gave a long inaugural address, the longest in American history, in cold weather, and became sick. Harrison died about 30 days after his inauguration and served the shortest time as president ever. This is something we might have learned in grade school, but President Harrison became sick 3 weeks after the inauguration, leading some to now believe that another illness, possibly a typhoid fever, killed the new president. Number 9, George Washington. In 1793, for the president's second inaugural address, Washington uttered just 135 words after being sworn in as the nation's first president for the second time. Number 8, Barack Obama. Just like FDR, President Obama has been sworn in 4 times. Let me explain. Not all inaugurations were held on January 20th or March 4th. If those days fell on a Sunday, the public ceremony fell on the next day, while the new or returning president took the oath privately on Sunday. After Chief Justice John Roberts misstated a few words while administering the oath of office to Barack Obama during his first inauguration in 2009, Obama was sworn in again the next day out of an abundance of caution. He did it again in 2013 because January 20th fell on a Sunday. He took the oath privately on the 20th, then publicly on the 21st. It was only the second time in history that a president was sworn in 4 times. Quick trivia, true or false? President Trump will be the only president to skip the inauguration of his successor. The answer will be revealed towards the end of this video. Alright, so number 7, Lyndon B. Johnson. He was the first and only president sworn in on an airplane. Following the assassination of JFK, Lyndon B. Johnson took the oath of office on November 22, 1963, while flying aboard Air Force One. The oath was administered by Judge Sarah Hughes, who became the first woman to inaugurate a president. Number 6, Washington's first inauguration required some improvisation. Washington arrived in New York City on April 30, 1789, with much fanfare, and then a large crowd gathered in what turned out to be a parade. When Washington arrived at Federal Hall, someone realized they forgot the Bible and obtained one from the nearby Masonic Lodge. Washington also started the inaugural address tradition. Inaugurations were first held on March 4th. After Washington's first inauguration, March 4th became the official day for the start of a new administration. The 20th Amendment moved the day to January 20th, closer to the start of a new Congress. Number 5. Teddy Roosevelt. For his second inauguration in 1905, Roosevelt wore one of Lincoln's rings. John Hay, Roosevelt's Secretary of State, was also Lincoln's private secretary. He had been only 22 at the time and was there when Lincoln was assassinated. Hay was given the ring by Mary Todd Lincoln, and he let Roosevelt wear it for the occasion. Number 4. Calvin Coolidge. President Coolidge had some interesting people swear him in as president. After Warren G. Harding died in office, Coolidge was sworn in by his notary public dad. The vice president and his dad were at a farm in Vermont at the time. The second time, in 1925, he was sworn in by former President William Howard Taft, who was Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Number 3. John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams didn't take his oath on a Bible. Adams used a law book instead that contained the United States Constitution. Alright, so this next one is a little odd. I will admit it's a little odd here. Number 2. Richard Nixon. So Richard Nixon didn't want his 1973 inauguration to be visited by a bunch of annoying pigeons. He requested that tree branches along the parade route be treated with a chemical called Roost No More, which would supposedly make the birds' feet itch so they wouldn't want to perch above Nixon's motorcade. The inaugural committee spent $13,000 to comply with this anti-pigeon policy, but Nixon got a bit more than he expected. The pigeons didn't just sit on the branches, they wolfed down the Roost No More, which proved to be highly toxic to birds. Instead of dealing with the minor hassle of live pigeons roosting in trees, Nixon's parade witnessed a spectacle of dead and dying pigeons littering the route. And lastly, the number 1 spot is not the inauguration of a new POTUS, but of a new vice POTUS, who later became President of the United States. Number 1. When Andrew Johnson was inaugurated as Vice President in 1865, he was completely wasted. He was very ill from typhoid fever and drank whiskey to try to numb the aches and pains, except he overdid it and ended up slurring his way through his oaths. Then he tried to swear in the new senators but got too confused and had to let a Senate clerk complete his duties instead. President Lincoln defended his vice president by stating, "I have known Andrew Johnson for many years. He made a slip the other day, but you need not be scared. Andy ain't a drunkard." Now, for the answer to the quick trivia question, true or false? President Trump will be the only president to skip the inauguration of his successor. The answer is false. Donald Trump is not the only president to do this. John Adams, John Quincy Adams, and Andrew Johnson ditched the inauguration of their successors. All three were one-term presidents, and Andrew Johnson was the first president to be impeached by the House of Representatives. Alright, so that concludes the second episode of Between the Parties YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram for more content. The next video will be the real powers of the presidency, the informal powers. Thank you very much everyone for watching and listening to this video, and I will see you again soon.